What's up, guys? Happy Sunday to you all. Welcome to Roma Theory. Roma 1, Atalanta 1. A pretty useless point. A point that, in my opinion, comes from a good performance. And I'm not going to hide that. I think we played a good game. But as always, we're here saying that this is all we have. This is all we have due to many circumstances, due to many factors, due to a lot of things that have happened this season. But it's always like this. A good game, but this is all we have in our tank. This is all the fuel that we've got left. And when you need to ask for that more, you're not able to give it. Because I actually think that you didn't need much from yesterday's game to get 3 points. Because Atalanta played worse than you. I think you played a good game. I think you were very dominant over them. And I'm nobody to, in a sense, criticize your performance. But yeah, you know, that more that you need that could have won you yesterday's game isn't there because we're not able to give it. That's kind of how I would say. A draw is not a good result because we don't need a draw. We don't need a point. It's absolutely useless. Como had lost. Juve are going to win tonight. There's no world where I see Juve not winning today. So, in a sense, yesterday's game kind of... Yeah, in a sense, it marks the official end to the Champions League race. If Juve win tonight, then it's officially over. If Juve don't win tonight, then again, you're close, but always it feels like you're so far away. I feel like it's not yesterday's game that poses an end to your Champions League hopes. It's the last month. It's the last month, and what I criticize the most from this season, not what I criticize the most, but what I hate the most about this season is that everything good that you've built in the first months has been completely chucked away of the last 2 months. And I think that is unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable because the downgrade and the negative transformation that we have had, I put that Napoli game as the indicator of the start of the downgrade and the downfall. Then I look at that Juve game as the bomb that made everything explode. But it's that Napoli game for me that everything started from there. From how you played a good game in Naples but weren't able to get 3 points. From the fact that you were up 2 times at the Maradona and 2 times you bottled that lead. That started your downgrade. That started your downfall. Then the Juve game, the Genoa game, the Como game. These are all cherries on the cake. And you get to this point that you look at everything that you've done at the start of the season. And I think there were a lot of good things that we did with this manager at the start of the season. But then you look at these last 2 months and you're like, we've chucked everything away. We've completely and utterly destroyed every element of process that we've had. But having said this, I think we played a good game yesterday. I don't think we played a bad game. Again, I look at the team, I look at the bench, and I cry. And I cry if I'm the manager. That's the result. No, but I'll tell you something more. I wouldn't simply cry if I'm Gasperini. I would leave this club at the end of the season. This is what I would do if I'm the manager. Because this club has guaranteed me absolutely nothing. If I'm the manager, I leave at the end of the season. Now, I heard what Gasperini said yesterday, post-game, and I'm very worried. I'm very worried because what Gasperini says yesterday and how Gasperini phrases what he says yesterday post-game, for me, is a hint to a farewell. We'll get onto that after speaking about the game, but I'm not positive. Again, I hate to be negative. I absolutely despise being negative. But there is no positive light that I can shine about this football club at the moment. There simply isn't. I feel like we're living such an obscure moment on every point of view. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's next. We don't know what's coming. We don't know who's staying. We don't know who's extending contracts when it comes to players. We know absolutely nothing. And it's self-harming because at the end of the day, we're the ones who deserve knowing the most, right? But we know nothing. And it's this uncertainty of what is happening next which traumatizes me. It's this uncertainty of nobody, in my opinion, knows what's coming that is traumatizing me. Because it means that with this uncertainty, it confirms the fact that you're not going to go anywhere with this ownership. Because this ownership hasn't got a clue of what they're doing. They don't have a clue. They are acting blindfolded. They are acting on emotions. They are acting on consensus. They are acting on everything apart from knowledge. And that is not how you run a football club. So, speaking about the game, and then we'll continue the outside of the pitch talk, because I think at the moment, as much as I don't like it, as much as the manager doesn't like it, it's the biggest and core central issue at this club. So speaking about and mentioning what Gasperini post game for me is quite relevant to do. But going back to the game, I think when speaking about the game, I'm gonna start off with a base. Atalanta are better than you. I said this in the match preview, and I'll say it again. So for me, the fact that you out-dominated Atalanta is a good sign. Is a good sign. You know, from what I saw on the pitch, I take positive things. But again, as I said from the beginning, it's that last step that you simply cannot take. Because yes, we've got injuries. Yes, we've got an incredibly shit squad. But in my opinion, this no longer justifies the fact that you haven't won a big game. Because look at Lazio, for instance. They go to Napoli yesterday afternoon and win 2-0. Right? You look at Udinese, go to San Siro last weekend, win 2-0, 2-1, whatever it was. So I'm the first one to say that, and I'll repeat this, and you will get tired of me, but I will repeat this. I'm with the manager. I'm with the manager. The manager is the last to be blamed. And I will say it again. I will never be tired of saying this. You'll be tired of me. But this is the war that I'm willing to fight. But it's no longer justification that you haven't won a big game. I don't accept it anymore. I don't accept it anymore because little teams win against big teams occasionally. I'm not asking you to win every single big game. But you haven't won one big game against the top 6 teams, top 7 teams, only Como at home. And that is unacceptable for a team that, at least as the manager says, wants to try and compete for top 4. Sorry, let me turn the light on. So that's the other thing. The other thing is this. The other thing is, fine, good performance, fine, good attributes, good attention. Yesterday, yes, good charisma, yes, but where is that final step? And it's that final step which has costed you the season, effectively, right? It's that perfection of not being perfect. It's that lack of perfection. And again, I'm not asking you to be perfect. This team can't be perfect, but it's that lackluster moment in every game that costed you the season. Because yesterday, it's another individual mistake that leads to their goal. Now again, I think Carnesecchi, incredible goalkeeper. I think at the moment, at time of speaking, he's the best goalkeeper in the league. Yes, I think he's better than Sevilla at the moment. At the moment he is. I'm not saying overall, but at the moment Carnesecchi is the best goalkeeper in the league. I think if it wasn't for that goalkeeper, they wouldn't have won. They wouldn't have gotten anything from yesterday's game, and we would have won because yesterday's save on Malen is an incredible save. You can tell that Atalanta's priority is their game against Lazio in the Coppa Italia because a lot of players were rested. Scamacca was rested. De Ketelaere were rested. A lot of players didn't even get subbed in. So again, it was the chance to kill them because they weren't massively interested in this game as much as they could have reopened a potential European plot twist in the league. But yeah, my man of the match, probably Hermoso. I don't think played a bad game, scored a good goal. I didn't even think he was ready to start yesterday's game, which is why I didn't put him in my match preview. I heard somewhere he was injured, but apparently it wasn't true. And then what else? Malen tried, but I feel like even when he's not playing well, he can be dangerous every time. And then again, the usual shit. Not the usual shit, just the usual mediocrity. The usual mediocrity. But look, I think what Gasperini says post game, I don't like. Not in a sense that I criticize what he says. No, I don't like in a sense that it's not promising. At least to me, hearing what he said isn't promising. Hearing what he said post game and the way he phrased some sentences, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. He said how he used everyone started writing articles on this, of course, but he used the word, this experience was extraordinary. I will forever be grateful to these players and these fans. All I am interested right now is ending the season well. It might not mean anything. It might not mean anything, and I probably don't and shouldn't over dramatize the situation. But a manager who says that post game is a manager who's thinking of leaving at the end of the season, who is understanding that he's simply not getting backed. He simply has been targeted with no sense and with no purpose and with no benefits from Claudio Ranieri last week. A manager who, in the press conference before the game, speaks about his past and starts crying and then leaves the press conference room, and then post-game says, this experience was extraordinary. I will forever be grateful to these players and to these fans. I'm only focused on ending the season well. Whether or not this will lead to the manager leaving, it clearly means that the manager is feeling overwhelmed, in a sense that he's not living a good moment. Like, you can tell. We don't need him to tell us. We know this. But, you know, from what I heard pre-game and post-game from the manager, if I need to place my money on whether Gasperini will stay at the end of the season or not, I'm placing it on him leaving. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit. Because we are a circus. We are an utter circus. And, I mean, if I'm the manager, I leave. But again, if I'm the manager, I would have completely flipped my head after what Ranieri said last week. So again, the fact that he had no reaction, for me, deserves applauses. You know, a manager who has been completely denigrated by Ranieri last week and isn't getting backed, isn't being backed on the medical advice, because that's another thing that the manager is clearly not happy about. You know, the medical staff and all these doctors have not been selected by the manager. They are Ranieri's men that Ranieri brought last year, and Ranieri kept with Gasperini as well. But there's clearly an issue here, because we can't play football if every game we lose 2 players because of an injury. So the manager isn't happy about that. The manager already has not a dark character, but a character that always wants more. And this board is not backing him one bit. This board is not defending him one bit, because another thing that the board should do is, after what Ranieri said, you defend the manager, even if you don't think that, even if you don't think Ranieri was wrong, you defend the manager. So no support, stranded by himself, just like De Rossi, just like Mourinho. Why would he stay? Like, you get my point. Fine, okay, he's got a multi-millionaire contract. He would have to let go of that money. But, you know, what makes him want to stay is my question. If you understand that everything is not gonna work out, if you understand that you're not gonna get backed, if you understand, in fact, if you get publicly attacked by your senior advisor, why would he stay? So I don't know. The future for me is a mess. The future for me is an absolute mess. But I will say it now. I think if this manager leaves, as I've already said, if this manager leaves at the end of the season, in my honest opinion, this is the final tombstone for this ownership. It is. How, I don't care. How this manager leaves, I don't care. Because whether you sack him or whether he resigns, it's the same shit. Because the only reason he resigns is because he knows that he can't trust you, which effectively means that you sacked him. So how the manager leaves, I don't care. If the manager leaves at the end of the season, for me, this is the final tombstone of this ownership. The final, like, for me, they are dead. For me, they no longer exist. Because after how you treated De Rossi, after how you treated Mourinho, which again, people will say Mourinho's sacking was inevitably going to happen. And it's definitely more arguable than De Rossi's one. But, you know, Mourinho said things. He unveiled the truth 3 years ago. And that truth still hasn't. He unmasked these clans. I think, again, looking back at the past, more than result-wise and performance-wise, which I agree, in the last Jose period was aberrant to watch. We all agree on this. But we still know the truth. I still know the truth. Mourinho did not get sacked because of results, because of performances. And I still stick with this theory. Mourinho got sacked because he unmasked these clowns post-Budapest. Because he targeted them and he understood what exactly was wrong at the football club. That's exactly why he got sacked. He got sacked because, he started telling everyone, these guys don't know shit about football. Something that before Mourinho's sacking, everybody was being kind of tricked about. Oh, we won the Conference League. Oh, we won the Europa League. This ownership is great. We didn't win the Europa League, but we reached the Europa League final. This ownership is great. It's great. It's great. Then you sacked Mourinho, who unmasked these clowns, and you started to realize that everything that was achieved with Mourinho was not because of the owners. It was because of that man. And so once Mourinho left, you started seeing how this ownership crumbled month after month after month after month. How you treated De Rossi, that was the apex of the crisis. How you backed the decision of sacking De Rossi with the appointment of Juric, that was the ultimate cherry on the cake. Then they saved their asses by using Ranieri, who saved their ass. And then again, you start a project. But in this final part, I also blame Ranieri, because Ranieri was involved in the decision of appointing Gasperini. So for me, if you decide to appoint Gasperini, you analyze all the positives and the negatives. But if you come to the final conclusion, it means that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. And if you break up with Gasperini after 1 year, again, I repeat, I don't care how he leaves. If he leaves at the end of the season, Fredkin Group is dead. There's no more excuse. There is no more excuse. So I will say that if this manager leaves, for me, and as I think for the 99% of this fan base, that's the final tombstone of this ownership, because it's 6 years that they are here, and it feels like instead of going forward, we're going backwards. And that clearly means that you're failing. It clearly means that you haven't got a fucking clue on how to rule this football club, how to lead this football club, how to make decisions at this football club. So I don't care that you're building the stadium. Honestly, I couldn't give a shit. I really couldn't give a shit that they want to build this stadium. Because everyone is I feel like people who defend this ownership are like, oh, but they want to build this stadium. I don't give a shit. You know, honest talk, we sit down, I couldn't give a shit. I would rather we start winning things and be a better football club, but remain at the Stadio Olimpico until the day I die, than be the same football club but have a stadium. I couldn't give a shit about that stadium. Really, hand on heart. So, for me, it's not that makes me defend them. You can't defend this ownership. They're utter clowns. Let's read a few comments. Yeah, City Arsenal. I was watching the game. Incredible levels of technique. I mean, we watching a game like that is a breather from our games. We're out of the Champions League. I really thought this year was going to be the pretty year, but pretty delusional. We all started off like that. I think what has been extremely bad about this season is the last 2 months. Because for me, what happened in the last 2 months has made you literally blow up everything. Everything. Pitch-wise, non-pitch-wise, internal divisions, non-internal divisions. What happened post-Napoli game, which was, I believe, around Valentine's Day, has made you blow up every progress that you made at the start of the season. And I think at the start of the season you made a lot of progress. But then the injuries as well. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. It really is. What will we do if Gasp leaves? I'll be extremely honest with everyone here. If Gasperini leaves, I'm very tempted of quitting this YouTube channel because I'm so tired of... I'm just so tired. You know that I'm tired. I've said it many times. If Gasperini leaves, I'm very tempted of just quitting. I quit. Like, quitting this YouTube channel would be my sign of quitting. I can no longer restart from scratch. You are obliterating every single project that you want to build. Like, how auto-destructive is that? Everything that you build, you're the reason that you want to destroy. How stupid is that? So, I don't know what's next. I don't know what's next. I don't know what's next. I think Gasp will stay because where would he even go? He will have no problem finding another team. He's a good manager. It's just this club that doesn't understand that he's a good manager. I think that's the least of the problems this manager has. The only big dilemma of whether this manager will stay or not is the fact that if he leaves, he will have to let go of a lot of money. But I can already guarantee you that if Gasperini was to leave, I would be ready to place my money on him sitting on Napoli's bench next season. Conte's leaving, so finding another club, you know, we're depicting somebody who just started managing. No, Gasperini will find another club like this if he leaves this club. The only big obstacle of letting go early is that he will have, unless they sack him. But again, you'd be so dumb that I wouldn't say no, because this ownership is dumb. So I can see them sacking him. But the highest probability for me is him walking, him going. There were simply no conditions for me to thrive. I tried. I was wrong. I simply can no longer continue, and I just walk. But the big obstacle, because he has a big contract with us, so that's the only negative. That is the only negative. This club is never getting above 6th place with those guys in the team. This happens every time. Tell us your prediction about what percentage you have to get top 4. What percentage you have to get top 4? If Juve win tonight, we've got 0% of getting top 4. If Juve don't win tonight, which I highly doubt, I would give it a 20% chance. But it no longer depends on you. That's the thing. And you're not going to win all games from now until the end of the season. You're not. I don't even think you're winning next weekend in Bologna. So you can't, you simply, for me, it ended the second Gatti scored that goal. Again, the dilemma here is, do we want Europa League again? I don't know. I'm very tempted to say no. I don't want Europa League. Do we want Conference League? No. If the possibility of getting in the Conference League is close, I think we're gonna start losing games on purpose, because no, we don't want the Conference League. The owners, the club, the player, the managers don't want the Conference League. So if the possibility of getting in the Conference League is actually possible, I think we're gonna start losing games on purpose. We're probably gonna re-end up in the Europa League, but I'm so drained of that tournament too that I don't even know if I want it. Everything started going downhill since the last 10 minutes of the Juve game. Yeah, that killed you. That killed your season. But we knew it. We knew it. Real Roma fans knew the second Gatti scored that goal that our season ended. I remember saying it perfectly in the match reaction. But even better, even realer Roma fans, the second Boga scored that 3-2 goal, the real Roma fans knew that 3-3 is coming, and that 3-3 will fuck our season up. Anyways, I will catch you. Who are we playing next? Bologna again. Fucking hell. God, give us a break. Yeah, Bologna on Saturday, so we'll see what happens this week. Otherwise, I'll catch you in a bit. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave some hype points. Save Roma Theory from its ultimate collapse. And I will talk to you soon. Forza Roma sempre. And yeah, bye bye. See you out.